Hi, I'm Melissa. Today I'm going to be teaching my Rocket 3 final with the Yoga with Carson Academy. If you are joining me today, all you will need is your mat, some water, and your blocks. If you have them, one block will do, or if you don't have any, that's totally fine as well. I'll be offering modifications throughout. Our practice today will be about an hour and 15 minutes. Anytime there is a vinyasa, which is chaturanga, downward dog, upward dog, totally optional. You can completely skip that and go into downward dog at any point in this practice. You can go right into a child's pose or downward facing dog as well, instead of doing what I'm doing. Just honor wherever you are. So we will start off today in our tabletop position. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. The wrists are directly below the shoulders and the knees are below the hips. We'll warm up the wrists here, keeping the fingers spread wide, rocking ourselves forward and back about 5 times. Slowing down the breath as we do this, trying to keep each inhale about 3 seconds, and each exhale 3 seconds, or even longer. Once you're done with this last one here, turn both of the fingertips in towards each other so the forearms face the outside of the mat. Rock yourself side to side. Continuing to breathe here. In through the nose, out through the nose, slightly constricting the throat for your Ujjayi breathing. Last one. And now face the forearms to the front of the mat. Fingertips are pointing you, and rock forward and back again. I like to sink my hips down pretty deep into this one, almost as if I'm going into a child's pose to really feel a stretch in the back of the hand. And last one. Rotate the fingers so they're pointing forward once again. Shoulders over wrist, and lift your palms up off the mat. Your thumbs might lift as well. If this is too much for you, you can sink your hips back a little bit so your arms are at an angle and your shoulders aren't directly over your wrist, or you could do one wrist at a time. Strengthening the fingers in the palm of the hand. Continuing to breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Keeping your hands at finger width distance apart, pressing firmly into all 10 fingers, pointing the pointers forward and pressing into the thumbs. Lift your hips up and back, being high on the toes and the ball of the feet. This is our first downward facing dog. Belly button into the spine, keeping the quadriceps firmed, lifting above the kneecaps, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. You can walk your dog here, or maybe sway the hips side to side, stretching out the hips and side body. Inhale, come forward onto your knees, slowly lowering yourself down for a modified push-up, squeezing the elbows into the ribs, lowering down all the way. Exhale, pressing yourself back up. 2 more just like this, on your knees. Inhale down. Exhale, press yourself back up. Inhale, lowering yourself down, squeezing the elbows in. Exhale, press yourself back up. Lift the hips up. Downward facing dog once again. And now walk your feet one at a time to meet the hands for forward fold. Chin to your chest. Try to reach the crown of your head to the mat, keeping a bend in the knees if the hamstrings are tight. You can keep your hands here to rest where they are, or interlace the hands on the shoulders. Sway yourself side to side for a ragdoll. Keeping the belly button to the spine, stretching out through the back of the neck, top of the neck, tops of the shoulders. On your next exhale, release the arms and slowly roll yourself up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. From here, we'll take our first sun salutation. So you're in Namaskara A. Inhale, arms up. Maybe look up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands meet the mat. Keep a bend in the knees if you have to. Inhale, halfway lift. Keeping the hands on the mat, fingertips on the mat, or hands on your shins. Pressing firmly, keeping a flat back, lengthening through the crown of the head. Active back. Exhale, forward fold. Reaching the tailbone to the sky. Crown of the head to the mat. And chaturanga, extending the legs out. Dropping down on the knees with control, lowering the chest down. Lowering the chin down. Keeping an anterior tilt in the pelvis for now. And then one leg at a time, extending down all the way flat. Keeping your hands below your shoulders. Lift the heart, lifting the chest, opening through the collarbones. Gaze is forward for cobra pose. Maybe lift your hands here to make sure you're activating fully through the back. Exhale, press yourself onto your toes, up and back for downward facing dog. We'll take 3 deep rounds of breath here. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. Maybe shaking the head yes or no. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. And step to the top of the mat. Lifting up halfway, hands on the mat, hands on the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hands up to stand, reaching arms up overhead, maybe looking up. Exhale, Samastiti. One more time. Inhale, arms up, maybe look up. Exhale, fold. Hands meet the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, strong back. Exhale, chaturanga. For knees, chest, chin. So drop your knees down, keeping the hips up, anterior tilt, dropping the chest down and the chin down. So the only thing up now is your hips, and then wiggling your feet out one at a time. Inhale, pull the heart through, squeezing the shoulder blades. For cobra, lifting the hands off the mat, activating the legs, activating the low back. Exhale, downward facing dog for 3 breaths. 1, 2, inhale, exhale, last breath, inhale, exhale, bend the knees, look forward, and step to the top of the mat, inhaling to halfway lift, exhale, fold, inhale, all the way up, arms overhead, maybe look up. Exhale, arms down to your side, Samastiti. Sun salutation B. Inhale, arms up overhead. Sink the hips down and back for chair pose. Keeping a posterior tilt in the hips, activating the low belly muscles to not keep your butt sticking out. Making sure you can see your knees past your toes. Your arms can be overhead, your gaze can follow, or your arms can be in prayer pose. Exhale, forward fold, hands meet the mat, chin to chest. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. You can do knees, chest, chin again. Or if you wanted to do a modified push-up, high to low, stay on your knees and slowly with control, lower down about halfway or till your shoulders meet about the length of your mat, or your block rather. Inhale, pulling the chest through, landing on the tops of the feet, squeezing the thighs, activating the low back, keeping a slight bend in the elbows, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg forward for warrior 1, right hand right behind the right wrist. Left foot is at a 45-degree angle. Hips are squared towards the top of the mat. Arms up. Right knee directly over the right ankle. Maybe gazes up. Exhale, arms down. Modified chaturanga again on your knees, halfway down on the exhale. Inhale, pull the chest through, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot behind left wrist for warrior one. Pivot the back foot, 45-degree angle, at a 45-degree angle. Square the hips, arms up, gazes up, bending the left knee this time for warrior one on the left side. Inhale, exhale, arms down, chaturanga. On your knees, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step, hop, float to the top of the mat, halfway lift, exhale, fold, inhale, arms up, sink the hips back for chair pose, maybe look up, exhale to standing mountain pose, Samastitihi. Sun salutation B, one more time. Inhale, arms up, sink the hips back. Engage the lower abdominals to tuck in the low spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. You can do knees, chest, chin. Stay on your knees, or for high to low push-up, go into a high plank position. Strong toes, strong core, strong legs. Press yourself forward onto your toes and lower down halfway, just about till your shoulders meet your block. Press yourself up onto the tops of the legs, upward facing dog, strong back. Maybe looking slightly up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, warrior one. Square the hips. Exhale, chaturanga. Follow the one exhale all the way down until you inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one. And arms up. Exhale, one breath all the way down to chaturanga. I'm modifying. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Sun B definitely is a lot of movement, so take advantage of this hold and these breaths here to catch your breath. Inhale. Exhale, plant the knees, look forward. Step to the top of the mat, halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up, sink the hips, chair pose. Exhale to stand, Samastiti. Surya Namaskara C, Sun Salutation C. Inhale, arms up, sink the hips back. We'll be holding our chair pose for 3 breaths here. 1, 2, sink a little bit lower if you can, really squeezing the knees together, ankles together, keeping your gaze at the fingertips. Last one, inhale, exhale, lower the torso down to meet the thighs, but keeping the torso active, using the quads or the core in the back to keep you peeled off of your thighs for half chair, Ardha Utkatasana, keeping a straight line from your hips to your shoulders to your wrists, pressing away with your fingertips. 3, 2, 1, exhale, release. Pivot both the feet so they're reaching out to the corners of both your mat. Malasana, low yogi squat. Just a low, wide-legged squat. You can keep your hands into prayer, pressing the elbows into the knees to really open up through the hip flexors. If you wanted to modify this, you could just sit on a block here and just take it easy and just kind of press your knees out a little bit, just taking it easier on your hips and your legs. If you wanted to take it a step further, you can try crow drills with me. So I like to make sure there's about a foot width distance between my hands and my feet. I go high up onto my toes, bending the arms here, placing the knees into the armpits almost on the triceps, squeezing the elbows together, activating through the fingertips and the core, lengthen the neck, looking forward, lifting my right leg up, activating the ankle. 3, 2, 1, release. Other side. I'll go back a little bit so you can see. Keeping a slight bend in the elbows, fingers spread wide, hide onto the toes. Hands will meet, knees will meet the triceps. Reach forward, lift the left foot for 3, 2, 1. If you were taking crow that whole time, you can just jump back into chaturanga. Otherwise, slowly walk yourself out from high push-up to low push-up. I'm modifying once again. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right foot forward, warrior 1, pivot the back foot. Exhale, open the hips towards the left side of the mat. The back arch of the left foot will meet the right heel of the right foot. Right knee directly over right ankle. Gaze across the pinky finger on the right hand side. Warrior 2. Inhale, shorten your stance. Walk your right foot in just a little bit, straighten that leg. Then exhale, reach across toward your tiptoes and tick-tock the arm down. Gaze can be at the floor. This is a really good time for a block here to place inside your foot, to rest your hand, peeling the chest open towards the left. Gaze can be at your left fingertips for triangle pose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Pivot the back foot at a 45-degree angle, hands on the hips. Inhale here. Exhale, lower the torso down, keeping the legs the same for pyramid pose. You can stay here or grab a hold of your blocks. Place them right by your feet for a nice stretch in the right leg. Inhale here, exhale. You can take it this one step further for evolved triangle on the right, keeping the left hand planted on your block or the mat, peeling the chest open towards the right, opening through the right shoulder, lifting the heart up. 3, 2, 1. Pivoting back to center. Going back to warrior 2 legs, I walk my right foot out a little bit, keeping a bend in the knee. The heel of the front foot meets the arch of the back. Inhale here. Exhale, lower the torso down towards the right knee, lowering the elbow onto the knee, externally rotating the shoulder, extending the left shoulder across the side body for extended side angle on the right. Your hand can also be on a block here on the inside or the outside of your foot. Inhale. Exhale, release. Come back up to center. Bring the left foot back to a straight line. Hips are straight. Drop the back knee down. Crescent lunge here. Exhale, drop. Top of the foot meets the mat. Hands into prayer. Cross over towards the right for evolve side angle. Opening up through the chest, using the right knee to help twist yourself open a little bit more. Inhale here. Exhale, hands down to meet the mat. Chaturanga, or skip it completely, go right to down dog. Inhale up, exhale down. I'm gonna just scoot this back. 1 second. That's worse now. Downward facing dog, keeping the breath here. From here, we'll go into dolphin pose or into Mayurasana if it's in your practice. Keeping your arms shoulder width distance apart in downward facing dog, keeping the feet the same. Just slowly with control, drop your forearms onto the mat so your elbows touch the mat. You can stay here in dolphin or just walk your hips in a little bit more. And we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees, sink the hips back for child's pose. You can shake your head side to side or just stay here for a couple breaths to catch our breath. Inhale, pull yourself forward and up. High plank pose for vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sun C on the left hand side. Inhale, left foot forward, pivot the back foot for warrior one. Maybe look up. Exhale, pivot the back foot so it is directly in line with the arch of the heel. Arch and heel are in line. Opening up towards the right side this time, gaze across the left middle finger. Inhale, step in just a little bit with the left foot and start to lean yourself over on the exhale, lowering down to meet the shin or your block, opening up towards the right side for triangle. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, pivot the back foot, 45-degree angle, hands on the hips, reach up, exhale, fold down. Feeling a nice stretch in the hamstring in pyramid pose. You can place the block in front of you and grab a hold of the block with your hands and stay here. Otherwise, you can open your chest towards the left for revolve triangle. Planting the left hand, the right hand on a block, lifting the right hand up, stretching out through the back. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale down. Warrior two legs once again. Cartwheeling the arms, finding your position here. Walking my feet out just a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, lower the torso down. Elbow will follow. Right shoulder reaches across for extended side angle on the left hand side. Inhale. Exhale. Hand can also be on the block here. Either dimension is fine. If you need the higher dimension, you can take that. On the next inhale, for the next exhale, pivot the feet forward for crescent lunge. Hands up, shoulders roll down the back, keeping a slight bend in the left knee. Inhale here. Exhale, dropping the right knee down. Top of the right foot touches the mat. Cross over towards the left. And you can twist and lock the right elbow into the left knee for revolve side angle. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, plant the hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Lower the forearms down for dolphin pose. Slowly, if you can, just walk the feet in just a little bit to try to create a straight line from the shoulder blade to the top of the hips. And just hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees, sink the hips back on the exhale. Just take a breath here in child's pose. Inhale. And out. Inhale, pull yourself up. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can walk your hands into your feet to meet yourself into a forward fold at the back of your mat. If you wanted to take it one step further, you can whoosh yourself by just using basically your core and your legs and your back, shortening up your downward facing dog, pressing your body forward as you would in a chaturanga, and then lifting up through the back, whoosh, yourself into forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, grab a hold of the big toes with the peace fingers for Padangustasana. Exhale, pull down and fold. Breathing here in the stretch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, releasing the toes. Hands on the ground, palms face up onto your heels, placing the feet underneath placing the hands underneath the feet. This feels really good on my wrists. Padahastasana, inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Rise up to standing. Reach the arms up overhead. And stand up high on your tiptoes. You can walk your feet in together so your ankles touch to help maintain your balance for San Francisco Twinkle Toes. And to walk up to the top of our mat. Start off on the right foot. Reach over to the right side and left foot. Now swing over to the left side. And just repeat this over and over on your tippy toes until you reach the top of the mat. We'll just hold here. Doing a nice calf activation. Exhale, release. Drop the hands down. On the next inhale, hands on the hips. Open up to the right side for wide-legged forward folds. Arms out to a T, inhale. Exhale, fold down. Hands meet the mat. Hands can be directly out in front of you where they're directly below your shoulders, or they can be walk out so the heel of the hand meets the heel of the feet. Crown of the head towards the mat, chin to chest. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Hands back on the hips. Inhale, arms out to a T. Exhale, interlace the hands behind you, pressing the hands down towards the ground. Maybe the chest lifts, maybe the gaze lifts up as well. Exhaling, forward fold. Rinsing out the shoulders this time. Keeping the legs active the entire time. Lifting up the arches of the heels, activating through the balls of the feet, the knife edge of the feet, and the ankles. Maybe drop the neck back. Relax the neck. With each breath, maybe you're dropping your hands a little bit closer to the ground. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, releasing the bind. Hands back on hips. Inhale here. Exhale, lowering down. Peace fingers grab a hold of the big toe. And fold down, pulling with your arms. Strong legs the whole time. Using your pulling muscles to get you closer to the ground and deepen the stretch. Keeping your arms bent. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Keep the hands flat on the mat. This time pivot yourself to the back of the mat for your variation of the splits pose. If you can do the splits, take it here. Otherwise, you can join me in a low lunge position, dropping back the left foot, bending the right knee, squaring off the hips to the front of the mat. I'm on my fingertips. You can also use your blocks here if you need them. And we'll just stay here for 2 rounds of breath. You can lower the back foot to stretch further into that left hip flexor. maybe sway side to side or just stay here. Inhale. On your next exhale, sink your hips back, lifting the right toes forward for a low runner's lunge, trying to meet your chin to your shin, just feeling the stretch in the hamstring on the right side. Keeping your hips squared towards the front of the mat, which is now the back of your mat. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Pivot the feet back over towards the right side, walking your hands to the front of the mat. Switching sides, you can bring your blocks along with you if you need them. And drop your right foot to meet the mat. And just stretch out the right hip flexor here. You can lower onto your hands to feel a deeper stretch. Keep breathing through the stretching. Inhale. Exhale. Sink the hips back, keeping the left leg straight this time. Toes meet the sky, squaring off through the hips and the shoulders, chin to shin, or as low as you can go. This is about it for me. Take a couple of rounds of breath here. To get deeper into this pose, keep your belly button locked into your spine. Last one. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, releasing back to the sides of our mat. This time, keep the hands planted in front of you so they're directly below the shoulders. And walk your feet out as much as you can for your variation of a wide-legged split pose. This is about all I can go. So from here, I'm just going to drop down to my forearms. You can stay on your hands, or you can drop to your forearms or go down all the way. You can also rest your head on a block if that feels good to you, keeping your gaze in between your hands. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Back up. And we're going to end up on our bums here. Slowly with control, walk yourself back, walking the feet back to meet yourself, controlling yourself all the way down. I'm going to close up my stance a little bit, so I'm just about at a 90-degree angle. Here, you can use your block. We're just going to fold forward here in this position, keeping both of our sit muscles, our sit bones activated and pressed firmly into the mat, keeping our legs active, pressing up through the heels and activating our quads the whole way down. Inhale here. Exhale, fold. Reach out as far as you can go. Place your head on a block if you would like, or you can fold forward as much as you can. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release back to center. Interlace the hands behind you. Pull the shoulders and pull the hands away. Maybe lift the chest and heart up. Inhale. Exhale, fold once again. Try to meet your forehead to the block if you have one. This time it's a little bit harder because you're stretching out your shoulders and you're only using your core to hold your torso up. Keep your legs active this entire time. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Shaking out my wrists here. Mula Bandha checkups are next. Keeping your legs active, flexing out through the feet. We're going to use both of our blocks if you have them. If you don't, just keep your hands exactly where mine are with the blocks. Most of the time when I practice this, I actually don't use blocks. So keeping the blocks just about in line with your quad for me, just about in line with my knee actually. My hands are finger width distance apart, shoulder width distance apart. Like I'm about to do a chaturanga, keeping a bend in the knees. I'm going to lower down to press myself back up all the way. On my way up, I'm using all of my muscles in the pelvic floor to hold myself up and pull myself up, keeping my legs strong and active, flexing out through the quadriceps and the feet. So I'm not just using my hands and my wrist. It's a whole body movement. So let's inhale here. Exhale down and press yourself up. You can just lift your bum up here, or maybe just lift the right leg for 3, 2, 1, and release. Move on to checkups on the other side. Switch your blocks over to the left-hand side. Same place, shoulder width distance apart. We're going to do the same exact movement on the left side. If you want to lift one leg, you can. Lift both legs, or just try to lift your bum up as much as you can. The point of this is to activate your root chakra lock, to unclear any blockages that you might have in that chakra area. So inhale here. Exhale, fold down. Press yourself up for 3, 2, 1, and release back down. Good job. Shake it out. You can roll out your wrists too if you feel like you need that as well. Inhale here. And exhale, swing your legs back for chaturanga. I'm modifying once again. Inhale, pulling myself up to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On the inhale, walk your feet in to meet the hands for a forward fold. And on the inhale, halfway lift. We're going to pull ourselves to standing here, grabbing a hold of the big toe if you can, keeping a strong left leg. Bend in the knee on the left side, hands on the hip. Left hand meets left hip. Keep a bend in the left knee, or the right knee, rather, and stay here and hold. If you wanted to take it a step further, the peace fingers on the right side will grab a hold of the big toe, extend the right foot out. Pulling the right foot, keeping your left leg strong. Strong legs. If you wanted to take it a step further, chin to shin for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right leg out, keeping your balance. Keep your drishti on one spot here. If you wanted to test your balance a little bit more, drishti towards the left. That's really testing my balance. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, left leg, right leg back to center, keeping the knee bent still. Or you can straighten this leg out, release the toes, hands on the hips. This is Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana D, I believe. We just did A, B, C. This is C. Inhale, exhale. We'll hold for 3, 2, 1. Instead of releasing, don't drop the foot just yet, keeping the left leg strong. Crisscrossing the ankle over the left knee. You can go into tree legs here, keeping the right knee bent. Or half lotus position, so the knife edge of the right foot will meet the left hip flexor. Just for a little lock there. You can stand here in prayer, keeping your balance. We're going to take the full expression, fold down over the bind. You can grab onto your blocks here if you need them. Taking a few breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Release the right leg down. Same thing on the other side. Right hand on right hip. Lift the left knee up. You can hold on to your kneecap and stay here. Otherwise, grab a hold of the big toe with the peace fingers. Extend the foot out. Stay here, or chin to shin for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And inhale, extend the left foot out. Gaze can be on the same spot, or test your balance towards the right. Inhale. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, swing the left leg forward, release the toe, extend the foot out, point the left toes. Hold here. 3, 2, 1. My quad is screaming for sure. And crisscross the leg over. Right ankle over, left ankle over right knee. Left leg can go into tree pose, where the knife edge of the foot can interlace with the hip flexor. Stay here, keep your hands into prayer, and hold and breathe. Otherwise, you can fold down. It doesn't always have to be the same on each side either. Chin to shin if you're folding. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release, back down. Shaking the legs out. Inhale, arms up. Look up. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, widen your stance of your hands a little bit so your pinkies are touching the corner edges of your mat. Start to walk and tiptoe your hips in until you can't tiptoe any further. Crisscross the legs and wiggle yourself through. Dandasana or staff pose. Keeping the quadriceps active, flexing out through the hips or the ankles and the heels. Your heels may be reaching off the mat that you're flexing your feet so much. Hands are directly by your hips. If your arms are short, you can tighten your fingers or just use blocks here. My hands are right by my wrists. Shoulders roll down the back, gaze at the nose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Folding over the toes, grabbing hold of the peace fingers. Or the toes of the peace fingers. Paschimottanasana A. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. You can stay here in this fold. If you wanted to take it a step further for B or C, interlace the hands across the feet or grab a hold of the right wrist with the left hand and fold. Breathing here. You can even scoop your sit muscles behind you, your sit bones behind you a little bit. Really sucking in the belly button to the spine to get a deeper stretch and going lower and straightening out. If you need to keep a bend in your knees and you can't stretch out that far, and that's okay too. Keeping length in the spine. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release the hands back down for upward facing plank pose. Hands will go about a foot behind the hips. To modify this pose, bring your feet in, lift the hips up for reverse tabletop position. Chin is up, gaze is up. If you wanted to take the full expression, your feet would still be out like from Dandasana. Point the toes, lift the hips up. The chin is up and the head is maybe reaching back. Just activate your legs, pointing through the feet, squeezing the knees together, squeezing the hips up to the sky. 3, 2, 1, release. For our vinyasa here, crisscross the legs. Lift up onto the knife edges of your feet. No back. And chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, float to the top of your mat, crisscross the legs. Left leg straight. Right leg is bent in like tree legs with your being seated. Trying to keep your left leg straight and active. The right hip is planted firmly, trying to keep the right knee active as well. YWCA A. Grab a hold of the foot if you can and fold. On the exhale, Gaze is at the toes, keeping length in the neck. Squaring off through the shoulders. Trying to bring the chin to the shin. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Bring the knee to point to the sky. Keep a handprint distance between the left leg and the right foot. Lower your torso down to wrap your right hand around the leg and reach across to grab your right fingers for a bind here. Try to straighten off your shoulders and fold. YWCA A. This is about as low as I can go, and that's okay. Just keep breathing here. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release the bind. Bring the right hand behind the right hip. Twist the torso over to the right hand side. Lock the left elbow into the right knee for a twist. YWCA C. This feels really good on my right side body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we'll release down to chaturanga. For funsies, you could do a little pistol squat here by lifting up the left leg, planting the hands down between you, pressing up with your right foot, strong right foot, hip to the sky, plant the hands, high plank, low plank, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good job, guys. Inhale, we're gonna come back forward, do the same thing on the other side. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Crisscross the legs. Extend the right foot, keeping the foot flexed, active quad. The palm of the foot will meet the right leg this time. For YWCA, trying to keep the knee straight, active hip on the left, squaring off the shoulders and folding. Gaze is at the toes. Trying to bring the chin to the shin. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Come back up to center. Left knee to the sky, handprint width distance between the right and the left legs here. Bring the torso down on the inner side of the left leg. Straighten off the shoulders. Reach the left leg around the right leg around the left leg, and interlace for a bind. Try to square off the shoulders and get as close as you can to the right leg, keeping the right leg strong and active the whole time for YWCA A. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale to lengthen, exhale, releasing the hands, placing the left hand behind the left hip, crossing the right elbow towards the left knee, and twisting your torso over towards the left. YWCA C. Gaze towards the left shoulder. Keep breathing. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Then take the pistol squat again. Strong left leg this time. Lift up. Strong right leg. Plant the hands. Lift the hips up. Staying strong on the left foot. Planting down into plank. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale, pull yourself forward from high plank. Slowly lower yourself down, all the way down, hugging the elbows into the knees until you're flat on the mat. Keep the hands by your sides, palms facing up, Shalabhasana, locust pose. For this pose, keep your big toes touching each other. Try to keep your knees in touching each other. And bring your shoulder blades in to squeeze in towards each other. Gaze will be forward. On the next inhale, we'll just breathe here. And exhale, lift up. Hands will stay on the ground. Lifting through the low back, activating the quads, squeezing the knees together, squeezing the ankles and the big toes together. Try to lift your feet up just a few more inches. And keep holding for 3, 2, 1. Don't drop down yet. Put your hands directly below your elbows here and just lift. Use your hands to lift yourself up. Really activating your low back muscles. You're still squeezing through the glutes. Belly button is to the mat this time. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Scoot your hands so they're right in front of your shoulders. Inhale, pull yourself forward for upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, pull yourself forward from high plank all the way down. All 10 toes are touching the mat. Feet are pointing behind you. Legs are hip width distance apart. Cross the left forearm over the body and lift the right heel to the glute muscle. Grabbing a hold of the ankle or maybe around the arch of the foot and just squeezing the left leg in for a nice quad stretch here. You can stay here if you wanted to take it a step further. Lift yourself up, turn your gaze, and rotate your shoulder. So you're really pressing out through your shoulder, stretching your shoulder and your quad at the same time. Inhale, exhale, and release, back down, back to center. Right leg, back down, right arm crosses over. Lifting the left heel to the glute muscle. Grab a hold of the ankle with the toes. Thumb will be pointing down. Gaze towards the left. Just pulling here, stretching out your quadricep. This feels really good as is. You can pull as deep as you need to. Bring your heel all the way to the glute if you can. And then rotate your shoulder, press down, gaze up. To stretch out the shoulder and the glute at the same time. We'll do this on the left side, then we'll do the right, and then we'll do both for Dhanurasana for boat pose. Grab a hold of the ankle and the heel if you have let go already. And then what we're gonna do with the left hand side is lifting our left thigh off of the mat to the sky and pulling our ankle away from us, away from the glute muscle. Pulling away and lifting the thigh up, gazes towards the left for half bow. 3, 2, 1, release. Put that foot straight. We'll just do that very quickly on the right hand side. And grabbing a hold of the arch of the foot or the ankle, thumb pointing down. Peel the thigh to the sky. Pull the ankle away from the glute. Gaze towards the right. 3, 2, 1. Release back down. Grab a hold of both ankles this time. Same motion, but we're doing both feet. Keeping your legs active the entire time. The more active your legs are, the higher your chest will lift. Squeezing your shoulder blades together, keeping your heart open. Your gaze will be forward towards the nose. Inhale. Exhale. And lift. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale, down all the way. Plant the hands. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pasasana. We'll pull ourselves all the way to the top of the mat, walking ourselves forward. High onto the tiptoes, turning our torso 90 degrees towards the right. Squeezing your ankles together, keeping your ankles together in this tiptoe stand. Interlace, hands into prayer. Twist over towards the left. This is modified noose pose. 3, 2, 1. Release the right arm down, extend the left arm to the sky, gaze follows. For 3, 2, 1. Plant the hands, lower down, chaturanga. Step one foot, then the other. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale to up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the top of the mat. Tiptoes towards the left side of the mat. Pasasana on the left. Hands into prayer. Cross over to the right side and twist. Left elbow meets right knee for a deeper twist here. Gaze across the shoulder and the elbow on the right side. 3, 2, 1. Plant the left hand this time. Peel the chest open towards the right. Gaze might be across the body, above the fingertips on the right. 3, 2, 1. Inhale here. Exhale, plant the hands. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Inhale. Step the feet up. We'll land on our knees this time. For Ustrasana, camel pose. You can be on your toes or feet can be flat, whichever works best for you. Stand onto your knees, pressing the hips forward. Hands will be on your hips. Just take a breath here, pressing your hips forward, extending through the heart center, opening the chest, sternum to the sky, chin up. If you wanted to take this a step further, you can release the hands behind you to grab a hold of your ankles. Keeping the legs squeezed together, pressing the hips forward. The hips should be above the knees for camel. 3, 2, 1. Lift yourself all the way up. And exhale, release. We'll take a child's pose from here. Hips back. You can rest the head on the mat, shake the head no or yes, or just stay here for a breath or two. Pull yourself forward for a vinyasa or skip it completely. Just end up in downward facing dog. High push up to low, forward facing, downward facing dog. Tiptoe yourself until you crisscross the feet and come back to seated for bridge pose. Feet are about hips width distance apart. Just a little bit, about a handprint or so's distance away from the glutes. Lie down on your back. We will be squeezing our glutes up to the sky. Inhale here. Exhale, press. And breathe. I just walked my shoulders in, pressing my elbows down on the mat. I interlaced my hands, squeezing the knees together, lifting myself up through the chest, the glutes, and the quads. 3, 2, 1. Release the bind in the hands. Exhale the hips down slowly with control. If that was enough for you and that felt good, which that felt amazing to me, you can just take another bridge pose, or you can take wheel by keeping your lower half exactly the same, placing the hands on each sides of the ears by the shoulders. Inhale here. On the exhale, you're pressing yourself up. doing a press up with your arms, lifting your hips up all of the way. Inhale here. Exhale, press yourself. Oh, I just fell. Press yourself through. Shoulders will go over the wrists. Squeezing the knees together, squeezing the glutes to the sky. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release yourself all the way back down. Releasing the hands by your sides. From here, we'll just take a nice hip stretch on the right hand side, cross over the right leg, over the right knee, and pull the left hamstring in. Stretching out the right hip. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, release. Both feet back down, switch sides. Left foot crosses over right. Bring the right knee into the belly. And then breathe deeply into the hip. Inhale. Exhale, release back down. Pull yourself up. Crisscross the ankles behind you. For your vinyasa, exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. It is now pigeon time. So on the next inhale, lift the right leg forward, bend the knee, and flatten down, squaring off the right and the left hip. The foot doesn't need to be straight. You keep it as an angle, as comfortable as it is for you. Mine is very much angled. And you can stay here. You can use your blocks to prop you up. You can lower down onto the forearms, use the block for your head, or lower down all the way to the mat. Just making sure the hips are square and continuously focusing on the breath and breathing into your hip. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release. Back up, high push up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, pigeon on the left. Keeping a bend in the leg, squaring off the hips so they're both squared, pointing towards the front of the mat. Staying here on your hands or using a block. Flattening out as much as you need to, as much as feels comfortable for you today. Feeling a release in the hip on the left. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale from here, we'll do cow face. I'm going to turn myself so I'm facing you. Keeping your left knee bent so your foot is facing in towards you. You're going to wrap the right foot around so both of your knees are stacked on top of each other for cow face. This is about as good as I can get here. So my hips aren't very open. You can stay here, plant the hands. If you wanted to take this a step further, you can reach back the right arm behind you, grab a hold of the fingers with the left for a bind, and fold over the hips. I'm not feeling the bind today, so I will release that and just fold here. You can again use blocks to guide your hands, or a block for your head to rest your head. Three, 2, 1. Lift yourself up. We're going to switch legs. just use your hands to prop yourself up. Go into the tailbone and just switch legs, doing a little showgirl. Right knee is now on the bottom, left knee is on top. Can stay here. Take the bind by placing the right hand overhead, reaching a hold and grabbing a hold of the fingers, the left fingers, and then folding. Or you can just keep the hands released and fold. For 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Exhale, release, back down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, pull, tiptoe yourself through to come to seated, crisscross the legs. And we'll take a waterfall and start off our closing rocket positions. Starting in Dandasana, legs out in front of you. We're going to lie down on our backs. You can use a block and place it directly underneath your low back where your tailbone is to support you, using either the shortest or the middle length. And just lift your hips up. Actually, the shortest is the best. You can stay here if you'd like, and you're just enjoying this restorative pose, draining out the blood from the feet. If you wanted to take a second, you can even lift your arms up as well, drain the blood from the arms and the wrists. If you wanted to take this a step further, you can lift the hips up into shoulder stand. Using your elbows, placing your hands on your hips, propping yourself up with your elbows, pointing the toes to the ceiling, pressing down firmly through the shoulders so you're not putting any pressure on your head or your neck. You can stay here. If you wanted to take this one step further, go ahead and reach your feet behind you for plow. Tops of the feet, tops of the toes will be reaching the mat behind you. Again, pressing, using the shoulders to press you so you're not feeling strain in your neck. You can bend the knees here, hugging the ears in with the knees bent, or just stay in plow. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down, lowering one vertebrae at a time with control, lowering the legs back all the way down. Now we'll come into headstand from here. I just crisscrossed my legs. Lowering down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bending the knees. Crossing your hands to support the head, crown of the head. The very top of the head will meet the mat. Come high up onto the toes and walk yourself in till your hips are directly above the shoulders. Press firmly into the shoulders and the forearms so your head is barely resting upon the mat. You're more or less kissing the mat and holding yourself up with your shoulders. If you wanted to lift one leg up, you can, or if you wanted to lift both legs up and come into headstand, you can as well. If you're in headstand, we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With control, lower down to pike yourself halfway.
using your core, strong legs, slowly but surely, and then you can lift yourself up. I'm gonna lower myself down all the way. Slowly get out of this pose. Drop your knees and rest your head into child's pose for a few rounds of breath. Inhale, pull yourself up. Final vinyasa. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tiptoe the feet back into seated. Crisscross the legs. Come into an easy seat. Crossing the legs or full lotus. By putting the knife edges of both feet, walking them in the hip flexors. Yogi Mudra here. Both of your hands open to receiving. Pointer finger and thumb meet. The rest of the fingers are stretched out. Gaze at the nose. Slightly tuck the chin. Just breathing here. Inhale. Exhale. Release the arms. We'll use blocks if we have them. Put them right beside your hips. Firmly press into all of your fingers and your knuckles and the wrists. And if you wanted to, use your Mula Bandha once again and pull yourself up. Inhale here. Exhale, press and pull. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release back down. Slowly release the bind in the feet. Extend the feet forward. And come to your backs. Slowly with control. Take any final resting poses that you may feel like your body needs right now. We can bring our knees in above our hips and windshield our wiper blade, the legs to the left-hand side. Gaze will be towards the right, keeping both shoulders pressed firmly into the mat, feeling a nice side body twist. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling to the left side. Looking to the left, legs fall to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale back to center. Extend both feet out in front of you. Hands by your sides, palms facing down for grounding or palms facing up for receiving. We'll just do a full body scan here as we end our practice. Letting go of any tension. Releasing the muscles in the forehead. Letting our eyes relax. Relaxing the cheeks, the jawbone. Relaxing the tongue off the roof of the mouth, parting the lips light way. Continuing down the body, opening up through the chest, letting the shoulders fall a little bit more. Relaxing down the biceps, the elbows, the forearms. Letting go of any tension in the wrists and the fingers. Releasing any tension in our torso, our heart chakra, our sacral chakra. Letting go of the core, letting go of any tension in the hips and the pelvis. Releasing the knees, the ankles, the toes. Becoming fully aware of this moment right now. Maybe you hear the crickets outside, or the cars going past. Shavasana. So come out of this position, start off with a few micro movements, wiggling fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. Taking a few cleansing, inhaling, exhaling breaths. Long breaths. Waking the body back up. Maybe reaching the arms overhead like you're just waking up in the morning. Feeling gratitude for your practice today. If you wanted to stay here, you can. Otherwise, roll onto your right side. Bringing the knees to the chest. Cradling your arm and your side body. Staying here, or you can come up to seated in easy seated position. Thank you so much for joining me and watching my final all the way through. I really appreciate all of your love and support. Namaste.